It's not that good an evening, but it's good enough, I guess, for all of us to be here. Thank you for coming. I want to remind everyone we are being videotaped by Matt Conti, northendwaterfront.com, so be discerning in what you say. Before we do what we normally do, and do the introductions of the city officials and go into the agenda, I did want to sadly report to you the passing of Nikki Rafter. Nicole unexpectedly passed away after surgery, and we're all obviously very devastated. She was two-term secretary of NEWRA. She also served a term as treasurer, and we're very sad. Certainly, I've been in touch with Robert, let him know that we were going to have this little discussion about this and let everyone know. But it's just shocking, and our heartfelt condolences are going out to the whole family. Nikki was a very important part of our NEWRA process, was always very active. In fact, we have 5 sample letters that one could use to model your own letter to the city council, the VRA issue. And even though they're all anonymously, one of them, you'll have to choose which one is actually Nikki's letter. So she's still contributing. So with that, I would like to ask that everyone observe a moment of silence in remembrance of Nicole Rafter, our colleague and friend. Thank you. I would like to ask our esteemed city officials and their people to introduce themselves at this time. And I'll start with Kathy, as I do usually.
Kathy Carangelo, Council on Martina's office.
Anyone else? It's okay. We may be joined just for a hello flyby, as we have for several of the other meetings, by candidate for the open state senate seat, Jay Livingstone. We've had state senate candidates come and say hi, and Jay had indicated that he was going to try to drop by this evening. So when he comes, I'll just let him say hello, and so you know who he is. Great. We are going to be changing our agenda ever so slightly, because one of the items, as you can see in the agenda that you picked up at the desk, is a deferral. The applicants decided to defer, so we've taken them off of the agenda. It was a pretty tight agenda where we had 4 voting items. We opened up a little time, and that's good, because one of the things we're going to lead with is the oft deferred discussion of the letter writing campaign for the urban renewal zone objections. I'm going to talk about that right after the reports. And it's very important because the vote could be as early as next Wednesday now. And I'll give you an update on what's happening. We've made actually a fair amount of progress with the city council, but the city council still needs to hear it from us. I just was exchanging messages with Sal Lamatina, who couldn't be here tonight, and also is very shaken by the passing of Nikki too, and wanted to let everyone know that. But he said that he's in a position where East Boston and Charlestown, which he also represents, really, there are certain neighborhoods like Sullivan Square that really could use an urban renewal zone. By the way, they don't have an urban renewal. The urban renewal zone in Charlestown covers everything but where you really would like an urban renewal zone to be, so that's sort of weird. But he's just saying he doesn't want to vote to kill them before they can figure out how to repurpose them. There's a certain amount of reasonableness there. But we're going to try to convince Sal there's also a lot of reasonableness to asking the VRA to sort of maybe configure stuff first and then ask for votes. But we'll get to that. Other items that I want to cover, I'll defer to the other committees to go, and then I'll pick it up again. So we're going to have a brief flurry of reports, starting with the membership.
We have a number of new members here tonight, and so I'd just like to welcome you all. And if there's, I think everyone has checked in, but if there's anyone who hasn't, please be sure you do, so I can give you the ballot and just keep track of our attendance. Thanks.
The parks and open spaces.
Well, spring is definitely coming, which we're very excited about for a number of our parks. In Christopher Columbus Park, we are going to start the horticulture volunteer group a month early this year. It's just been, it is ready. The park is ready to be cleaned up. So if anyone is interested in volunteering with the horticulture group of the Friends of Christopher Columbus Park, we're meeting Sunday morning at 9:30. We provide all the tools and equipment and training. You can just show up. And going forward, we meet regularly Wednesdays at 6 p.m. and Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for 1 hour on each of those times, and anyone's welcome to come and help out. The Friends of Christopher Columbus Park and the Friends of the North End Library are sponsoring a walk and talk on Wednesday, April 6th. Ann Gilardi Johnson, who was involved in the replanning of Christopher Columbus Park, is going to give a history of the park and a walkthrough in Christopher Columbus Park, and then a slide presentation in the library about the history of the park. So everyone is welcome to come to that. On the Greenway, you know it's spring when the carousel opens up, and that opens on Friday, March 25th. It will be open on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays from 11 to 7 p.m. until April 15th, and then it will be open 7 days a week, so you can bring your kids. And the Parks and Open Spaces Committee of NEWRA met last week, and we talked about our strategy for the tree inventory, and we're going to go forward with that in April. We are meeting again, as usual, on the first Tuesday of every month. The next meeting will be April 5th at 7 p.m. at the Mariner's House, if you're interested in helping us with the tree inventory. Thanks.
Great. ZLC?
ZLC. I'm going to make this quick,
Okay.
because I have an addendum that I would like to add.
All right, okay, good. That's a new trick. I'll only speak for 30 seconds, but then I'll have a 10-minute addendum.
No, it's fine. The last ZLC meeting was February 23rd. It was a busy one, which I was unable to attend, so I thank Ford and Dave Boggins for attending in my place. There were 5 items, 3 of which are on the agenda today. The 2 that are not are 2 Snelling Place, which was on the agenda and has been deferred. That is because the proponent and the butter are discussing it. And that, of course, is the purpose of a ZLC meeting, to get everyone around the table and to start talking. And they started and they have continued. So we expect it to be on the agenda next month. And I don't think there's a hearing at the Board of Appeals signed yet, so that we won't run into problems of that sort. The other one is 20 Moon Street, which was on the ZLC agenda but is not on this one, because although the ISD issued a refusal letter finding a zoning violation, Attorney Toscano feels that that was incorrect and that there is no violation, and therefore it's not on this agenda for a vote. The only other thing I'd like to say about, before I get into the addendum, is, the ZLC meeting to come on March 22nd, 10 to 12 Fleet Street will be on the agenda, which is a now vacant store at Fleet just before, or just after Hanover Street on the left, which is proposed to be a nail salon. The second one on the agenda will be 74 to 76 Salem Street, which is a license transfer from Urban Cantina Mexican Grill. And there will be more details on that when I have them, and I will put them on the agenda. And the third and final one will be 415 Hanover Street, Lucia's Restaurant, which is also a license transfer, which is interesting and surprising that Lucia's has been there for at least 2 decades, maybe longer. And I don't have the details on that, but I will. Well, because I checked with the licensing board and it hadn't been, the application hadn't been filed yet. But when I have the details, I will give you that. And the final thing I would like to say before the addendum is NEWRA is often perhaps criticized or commented as being negative about proposed work in the North End. Of the 12 letters written to licensing board or board of appeal over the last year, only one was in opposition, and that was 305 Quincy Court. I'd like that to be known and understood and thought about
Very good.
by everyone. Finally, the addendum. I've been getting cold stares on Hanover Street. And the only reason I can think of is because, perhaps because of the comments I made at the last NEWRA meeting about the gift licenses received by 3 North End establishments, restaurants, upgrades from wine and beer, or wine and beer cordials, to all alcohol, which we understand were worth $400,000. I want to say that I don't begrudge anyone hitting the lottery. My reaction to it is that if each of those licenses was worth $400,000 and they were 3 out of 10 and there were going to be 5 more next year, that's 15 licenses, and 15 times 4 is 6. And if my zeros are in the right place, that's $6 million. It seems to me that the $6 million could be used by the city of Boston. Perhaps they could contribute to parks in the North End, or some other useful and appropriate contribution. Now, I know that the law requires a finding of public need. So, I suggest that for the 5 licenses that remain to be issued next year, that the legislature amend the statute, which they did to work out a conflict. Amend it again and permit the city, the licensing board, to find public need on whatever 30 or 40 applications are filed for the free licenses, and then auction the licenses, auction the ones that have been determined to represent a public need, and let the city get the money, not the recipients who, in effect, will hit the lottery. And that is the conclusion of my addendum. I hope it's not felt to be off the wall, crazy, unreasonable. I think the city can use it.
Thank you for the addendum. I'm going to keep going, David, sorry, but I just want to get the reports out of the way, and then perhaps we can have a discussion afterwards. David, public safety, David Morris.
Good to see a great turnout again. Welcome, everyone. In the 30-day period leading up to last Thursday, March 3rd, monthly public safety meeting, as always, there was 1 incident of an aggravated assault, 2 larcenies, and 1 larceny from another vehicle. The aggravated assault took place on February 14th, Valentine's Day of all days, at approximately 9 p.m. on Hanover Street. It was a domestic incident. Boyfriend and girlfriend in the limo together. Apparently the boyfriend was drunk and kicked the girlfriend. Two larcenies. First one took place on February 10th at 3 Henchman Street. A bicycle was stolen from a storage unit which did not have a lock on it for quite some time. And it's bound to happen. Second of the 2 larcenies took place on February 12th at 149 North Street by the school. This was a little disputed. There was some cabinetry that was left out as a display by a student. So there was some miscommunication as to whether it was really stolen because all of a sudden it was missing, or if just a student took it and put it in its rightful place. But at least initially it was classified as a larceny. And the 1 larceny from a motor vehicle took place at 117 Salem Street on February 23rd, overnight hours between 7 p.m. and 9:15 a.m. Boots and sunglasses were stolen, and the door was damaged on the 2000 Jeep Cherokee. There were 2 arrests that took place, all in connection to 1 incident. February 20th at 4 p.m. at Commercial and Charter Street. Via a social media inquiry, a drug transaction was set up. A male and female were arrested. An undercover officer did buy the drugs, and that's how the arrest occurred, of course. The male and female suspects did provide a Brockton, Massachusetts address, and they were charged with distribution of a Class D drug in a school park zone. They are very strict about that. Last but not least, every once in a while, the Boston Police Department's licensed premises unit, whether it's in response to complaints or it just might be a random check, they do both. They will go into an establishment, a licensed establishment, and check to see if the licenses are current. And the pizzeria by Strega, is it Remus? The police called it the Meeting Strega Pizzeria, so it's not the Strega restaurant. On February 12th at 10 p.m., the BPD licensed premises unit came in, and they noticed that number 1, the beer and wine license, number 2, the entertainment license, and last but not least, number 3, the wine malt liquor, the CD license, all of which were expired / not current. They didn't have a valid 2016 license for all of them. That's the first I've heard that happen with that establishment. Yes, that's right, because someone said that they are being renovated right now, so that maybe, I don't know how long that's happened. But that's how the police did call it Strega Pizzeria.
They had nothing else to do, so they wanted to find a violation on empty store.
It must have been Strega the restaurant, because I could always follow up with that. And last but not least, sorry, citywide Part 1 crime is up by 4%, and in District A1, where we reside, it's up 2%. That's a net gain of 5 crimes for the 2% increase in District A1. And keep in mind, generally speaking, overall, larcenies account for more than half of all crimes.
Okay. So that's the first uptick we've seen in a little bit.
Yes, it is, because everything's been going down, usually in the low double digits, like 10% reduction. But weather was a lot better this year compared to last year, so I'm not entirely surprised.
And Valentine's Day.
For some people, it's a non-violent holiday. First Thursday of the month, in this room, unless otherwise specified, 6 p.m. So the next meeting will be Thursday, April 7th, in this room at 6 p.m. We'd love to see you.
Fantastic, thank you.